Hello and welcome to the Full Force Live, straight after the G.I. Joe panel at Pulsecon 2020. I am Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80 from the Full Force podcast, and I'm joined, as always, by my team of absolute gangsters. Let me switch the screen so everyone can see everyone. There we go. We have an absolute packed lineup today. We've got Paddy Lennon all the way from Ireland. How are you doing, Paddy?
Good. Thanks for having me, Chris.
We've got Patrick Stewart. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing great. I'm excited this morning. G.I. Joe.
We all are, I think. Justin Bell, all the way just about an hour or so away. How are you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing, Chris? How you doing, everybody?
We're good. And also, a very special guest. Profit Director Riches. How are you doing, buddy?
Future so bright I gotta wear shades. What's up?
Oh, amazing. Yes, so we are literally piggybacking off the back of that pretty impressive G.I. Joe panel that we just had on PulseCon 2020. Guys, I mean, that was pretty amazing. We had classified reveals, we had a kind of retro reveal, but then also a nice little surprise in the retro reveals as well, which if you were Patreon members of the Full Force, you would already know that information, but that's by the by. Let's go through the first lot of reveals. In fact, let's start with retro, because I think the classified stuff I really want to kind of save till last. So let's start with the retro side of things. We got the reveals, obviously, of the Retro Wave 2. We've already kind of seen this. It's already kind of in stores in a sense, but it was nice to get some nice, good looks, I suppose, at, Roadblock. So we got like some good kind of visuals of him. We got Scarlet, of course, kind of a new build for her. And again, some kind of more product shots. And we got Destro as well. We can. Do we really need to discuss those? I mean, we've discussed these before, but do you want to talk about them now? I mean, does anyone have anything to say about these?
I'd still like to see with the tank top underneath, what that looks like.
The Roadblock himself. Yeah, that's true, actually. I mean, I'm guessing it's just a naked body underneath.
Guessing or hoping?
A bit of both. Pick one. Yeah, I mean, I just from what I can see, it doesn't look like he's got any kind of shirt under there, but it could be do you think it's the same deal as the Rock figure, Pat?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking it could be, and I was basing that off the sculpture of the lower torso. Because that would all match, and I thought that it was the one with a tank top on. So I'm not sure. I'm kind of curious still.
It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell, actually. But I suppose we'll be able to find out when. I'm surprised people who have been buying these haven't been kind of like taking more pictures and showing them off, because other than the shots we've seen on I think in store Canadian stores, we haven't really seen any kind of other shots of them. So that is quite interesting.
Are we going to talk about his new classified head sculpt shrunken down to 4-inch scale?
Interesting, that, isn't it? That's really cool. Do you think it was a case of them just scaling that down, or do you think they had to sculpt it for that particular figure?
I'm sure it was just scaled down, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it looks really good, actually. I think in terms of the figure, I think it looks really good. I mean, what are our thoughts on the Roadblock across the board? Paddy, what are your thoughts?
I would get it and then repaint it as Tiger Force Roadblock.
Nice, good thinking. What about you, Justin?
I like it. I mean, it's obviously the retaliation repaint kind of from the neck down. I don't really like that they used the legs with the only single knee joints. It feels like they could have made a better choice there. I think there's other things they could have done. I really hope they have the tank top underneath the vest. I think that would go a long way to make it a little bit more.
I see a comment in our live stream saying that the tank top with camo is on Roadblock has a tank top with camo.
Oh, wow.
There is some pics.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, that's good then. That's good. That makes a big difference.
I'm surprised they haven't shown.
Thank you, Rob Osborne, for posting that in our live stream there.
It's Rosborne to save time, Paddy. That's awesome. Thanks, Rob. And I was always going to say it's no ankle articulation as well on that figure, isn't there? So
exactly. Yeah. Kind of an odd choice, but
who's left?
Good sculpting. But
who's left who I haven't asked? Pat, what are your thoughts on Roadblock?
Very much the same. I really don't have anything else to add.
How dare you? Thanks, Tiger Force Patrick up there. And Adam, what about you, Profit Director?
He's a nice looking figure, but we really need to maybe take a little sabbatical from roadblocks for a bit here.
I love it. Every time you come on screen, you wave the cash around. That's amazing.
I'm still saying you got to set it on fire for authenticity, Adam. It doesn't count.
Amazing. Okay, moving on to Scarlet quickly then, because I want to get to the classified stuff. What do we think about this figure then? Again, starting with Paddy, what are your thoughts on Scarlet?
It's nice that we finally have a relatively decent Scarlet. She's got some really bad figures over the recent years. So this one seems better than most of those. But again, not something I'm dying to buy either.
I think overall she looks better than most figures that we've had previously. But yeah, there's some aspects, aren't there? And Pat, you mentioned some when we were chatting prior to going live. You had concerns about like the kind of forearms and the fact that her gloves aren't correct, right?
Well, yeah. One of my favorite features of the original Scarlet was the throwing stars. Then she has the cool little gun on the inside of one arm.
Yeah.
I think that this is a case of them making the best out of probably what budget that they had for the entire line, and just having to go with a lot of reused parts. The Scarlet is definitely an improvement over a lot of the ones we've seen recently, but at the same time, I think that it still kind of leaves me wanting one that's still a little bit closer to having those additional details.
Yeah,
but, I mean, not bad. This is certainly an improvement over Wave 1.
Yeah, totally. And Adam?
I think she looks awesome. You know what I'm saying? I personally, like the whole retro theme, I'm kind of over it, honestly. I don't want 25th rehash, so I actually view this as an entirely new figure. Like, obviously it's got, V1 homage, but I kind of like that it's not really sticking so true to the design. I love it. I think this might be my favorite figure that's been revealed in the retro line so far.
Justin?
I like that they're trying some new things, compared to Wave 1, where it was pretty much just a straight rehash of figures we've already gotten. I really am not a fan of the torso, just kind of the soft sculpting and the featureless. I mean, I know what the homage was when they did the original. I think it was the Cobra Trooper, the female Cobra Trooper that used it originally. But it looks a little out of place. I mean, her legs are all, pretty hyper sculpted with all sorts of wrinkles and details, and her arms too. And then her torso is just kind of mostly, just without any detail at all. So I guess it does kind of match the sort of unitard look that she wears, but I don't know. It doesn't really work for me. I'd like to see some other torso chosen, even if it isn't quite as authentic or really, I mean, it's kind of strange to me that they'll sculpt a Fang pilot from scratch, but then these key kind of core figures, they won't invest. Oh, sorry, my bad. They won't invest a little bit of extra money to kind of sculpt some new parts for some of these core characters in the line. But.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think, personally, it's definitely the best Scarlet we've seen so far. But there are aspects, I think, like you say, the gloves. I would have liked to have seen the ninja stars on there, and also like you say, the torso and everything. But quite a positive second wave based on what we had in that first wave. They're
going in the right direction for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then of course we have Destro, which it's the 50th version effectively with a slight deco change. We have almost like a Sunbow-esque kind of like with the grey boots and stuff like that. What are our thoughts on Destro quickly around the board, Paddy?
Hopefully the plastic is better than the 50th version, but I don't really see a need for me to buy it.
Yeah. Justin?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, it's pretty much a mirror image of the 50th anniversary version, and the slight tweaks are appreciated, but it's kind of more of the same.
Pat?
I hope that they have fixed some things from the 50th one. That was a great figure, a great sculpt. But like the injection point on the 50th one kind of had a little bit of a knot on the side of the head. I hope that that's corrected. And I always was having problems with the knees. I'm not sure if the lower legs on the ones had been actually swapped, but these look good. So I think that it'll be good.
Awesome. And of course, Profit Director version. What do you think?
My cousin James is looking stylish as ever. I mean, those great boots, style, baby. It's money. But it's for the people that missed out on the 50th. It's a great figure. we're not really reinventing the wheel here. If you like Sunbow Deco, it's worth picking up. And I agree with what everybody else said. Hopefully we get better plastic this time around.
Okay, and of course, finally going into the retro, we got this amazing reveal. Now, again, if you're a member of our Patreon group, then we did break the news that the Fang was going to be the next retro vehicle, and we also broke the news. What we didn't do though is break the news on the fact that it was going to be brand new. Now, this is amazing, and I was really surprised to see not only like a redesign or like a redo of this actual vehicle, but then also the pilot that comes with him is a completely new figure, completely new sculpt, obviously based on the 25th version that they put in with the Fang like way back. Well, it is way back now, isn't it? Jeez, that's a shame. What are your thoughts on this one, guys? This is pretty impressive. Justin, what are your thoughts, mate, going into, having seen this initially, what were your thoughts?
I'm really impressed, like you said. I mean, the fact that they did a completely newly tooled vehicle and newly sculpted, newly tooled figure is really amazing. The Fang, it's not, I would have preferred they extended that tail section a little bit. It's not perfect, but I really love the added detail. I love the fact that they did go through the trouble of actually making a new vehicle and the figure. I mean, this is the first newly tooled 4-inch figure in many years. So I think that's pretty impressive. And I really like the looks of it. I like the colors. I like how they use the inspiration from that 25th anniversary kind of air trooper with the gas mask and the red helmet. But they also made him somewhat new too. It's pretty cool. I'm happy with it. Although I hate it because I kind of skipped wave 1 of the retro stuff, and now if I get this, I'm gonna feel like I got to go back and get those.
Got to go back and be completionist.
Oh, mate, that's a shame. I feel bad. Although, shout out to Nick Wells at Indemand Toys, who has already shipped Retro Wave 2 to me from the UK as of a couple of days ago. So it gets revealed and it's already on the way. I'm kind of happy. What about Adam, Profit Director Riches? What do you think?
I got to go back to what Justin said earlier about how you kind of wish that tooling budget had gone elsewhere. But this figure is so cool. I love Classified as much as everybody else, but at heart, I don't
think you do. I don't think you do love it
as
much as we do.
I don't think that's true, Adam. Yeah, that's not true. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I love it a little bit less than everybody else because and it's so awesome to see some love getting thrown our way, and I just think everything about this is so cool. And having the compressed tail fin there, he's probably going to be able to hit a smaller shelf space and lower price point at retail. So it'll probably cost the same as one Classified figure, which is nice. And but I mean, just look how awesome he is. What else is there to say?
I kind of feel like there's a bit of a Classified design going on there with the figure, in a sense, like almost like an update of a design as opposed to like a rehash of what's already happened.
A modern take on it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts in general, Paddy?
The only downside about it is I think the proportions on it are a little bit corpsey. Sorry for cursing on the show. Other than that, it's
corpsey. Is that a term we're going to use now? Probably is, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a little bit Leonardi. Sorry for cursing again. In its proportions, but the sculpting is nice. The figure is great. Yeah, it's good. And like I said, and as others have said, it's nice to see a new tooled vehicle and figure in the line so early as well.
Yeah. And Pat, sorry to keep you last there, mate. Anything else that you want to say about this particular setup?
The figure does look like it's still very in the early stages. I don't know if this is a render that they colored or if this is a sample that they actually hand built. Can't quite tell from the size of the image. So I'm really curious to see what it looks like closer to it being finished. I think it's funny that there's no foot pegs on the side of the Fang anymore. I think the danger of hanging on the side of like a gyrocopter may have just been too much.
You won't be able, I was going to say, you won't be able to recreate those worlds without end scenes as easily now, will you?
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, that isn't a huge deal. I don't think that too many people were doing that all the time.
I was.
But it is impressive. It makes me wonder what other new things we will see, because from all the Wave 1 stuff, that was kind of the concern, was that there wasn't a lot of new budgeting going on.
We're getting a flag!
Right.
Profits. If you want to know what some more stuff coming, maybe sign up for the Full Force Patreon.
There you go. Thank you, Adam, for the plug there. But seriously, big shout out to our patrons who keep us going. We have been it's been great. We've been able to kind of give out some really cool info as well. So anyway, if you are interested, jump on. But anyway, we also got the box art as well for the Fang, and that's new and different as well. Obviously, isn't it? To obviously match the new build and the new action figure. Thoughts on that, guys?
It's cool. I'm happy to see that they're sticking with the aesthetic, and that when they did something new, that they didn't just repurpose art that didn't match the figure, but actually went in and did something that really hit all the marks.
Yeah, it's a little bit more subdued than the 25th art, which was a lot brighter, wasn't it? Like if you ever look at
definitely
the 25th rendering next to the original, there's you kind of, I know obviously there's a lot of things like the quality, like the fact that it's being done digitally and so on and so forth, but still there's something that the original Hector Garrido and other artists' artwork has, that kind of rich vintage feel, because obviously it was done back then. But then you look at the 25th stuff and there was this real new vibrancy about it, which I think this doesn't have, which is really well kind of, it speaks to that, doesn't it, Justin?
Yeah, they've done a good job kind of muting the color palette a little bit and making it look a little bit more old school, a little bit more vintage, even though it is new art, which is nice because, even during that Garrido kind of tribute video, and they showed that General Hawk amidst everybody else, and he just stuck out like a bright spotlight. You could really see it was a lot crisper and clearer and just different style than the older stuff. I think this one blends a lot better.
Well, I'll give people one little bit of insight about that 25th art, is that we were very much directed at that time to try and kind of have that sort of glossy, polished look, because it was reflected. It was sort of, old but new, basically, the same way the figures.
Sure.
So, I think that over the years, a lot of people have gotten into Corel Painter or even using traditional media, and I think that's how you really achieve that look. But all the 25th art was done in Photoshop, and was really the directive was to look very polished. So I'm kind of glad to see them going back to this aesthetic a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know what you're saying about the 25th art. I wasn't saying it was done incorrectly. What I was saying was I'm glad that on this particular retro release, they've gone for a much more vintage kind of aesthetic.
Chris, we should also mention that they're Walmart exclusives, and they're going up at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so around 10 p.m. UK time for pre-order. Awesome.
Thank you, Paddy. Right, let's get on to what we really, really want to talk about now, and that is classified. I'm just kidding, Adam. This is actually, let's start with Zartan. Let's start with Z, like the alphabet. If you're back to front, this is amazing. Now, obviously, we saw Zartan, the kind of character model, shall we say, in Operation Blackout when the trailer came out probably months ago now, and it looked really cool. I was thinking that's a really cool Zartan. Seeing it like this, I'm just like, this is even better than I even imagined this figure was going to turn out. And looking at what he comes with, he's got his gun, he's got a pistol, he's got a knife, and he's got the backpack, and he's got this little face mask. And it's very they've really gone to town on the vintage aspects here, haven't they? And also given him this really sexy neckerchief too. Now let's go round the houses on this one, starting with Adam. What are your thoughts on Zartan?
Well, I don't want to give away the accessory we're all going to have the best laugh about, but I do want to talk about my favorite pieces here, which are the snake head and the monkey's paw. What an unusual inclusion, right? But so cool. I love that they've really gotten into the deep details with these things. They've started to kind of find ways to reinvent characters that are 30 plus years old, and I just think that's so cool that they find ways even still. God, how many versions of Zartan do we have at this point? But to still find another one to be I honestly found myself during this thinking, is this the best Zartan ever made? Because prior to this, I probably would have said it was the Pursuit of Cobra Nomad Zartan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this and I'm blown away. Awesome. I don't want to steal everyone else's comments here because I could just go on for an hour, but I love it.
Well, let's move on to Paddy then, Paddy. And I've highlighted a certain image on the stream. I want you to take us through your thoughts on them using your likeness.
Lenny, Corey, Ben, Cecil, Mark on the live stream, you all owe me royalties, and I will come looking for it.
He's going to send me round, guys.
How dare you take my face?
Can we get you to do one of these on the screen?
Let me black out my eyes, and you can all just take a screenshot of me. This is what Zartan looks like, guys.
That reminds me of that Justin Bell mask that was doing the rounds at JoeCon a number of years ago. I think it was in Florida, wasn't it? I can't remember where it was. Yeah. But in any case, there was a Justin Bell mask.
And have Paddy on my back and just put his head in a box so we can open
put my head in a box as the backpack. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Right. Sorry, I was going to say whoever's phone is ringing, you can answer it.
I'm just muted.
We've got some beautiful images of this Zartan figure as well, like just absolutely gorgeous product stuff. And I know the images are now kind of up and everywhere, but we can't really keep up, so we're just going to do this as best we can right now. But yeah, you mentioned there's a monkey's paw and a snake head that he comes with. And it's just, again, really cute little accessory extras that, I don't know, just really cool. And also the fact they explain the backpack being one of those things where it makes the mask inside the backpack. And they wanted to make that like a clear kind of thing inside. And so some of the details, like, are kind of to give the impression that those masks are being made inside his backpack, which I think is just such an amazing touch. Pat, sorry, we haven't heard from you yet about Zartan. What are your thoughts, mate?
I was thinking that the backpack reminded me of Mission Impossible 4, the way the mask was being.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you and I had talked before about how some of the 6-inch figures that have been really amazing are like Spider-Man with the pizza.
Yeah.
What accessories may they include with some of the G.I. Joes that are just really out there and not the first thing that you would expect to see? And I think Zartan hits on that with the monkey's paw and the snake head.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were actually racking our brains for ages on a message back and forth, weren't we, about what cool things we'd like to actually see in the classified line as homages, as out the box thinking kind of accessories. I don't think that came up at any point, did it?
No, I don't think a monkey's paw or a snake's head. I wonder if that's the same snake wrapping around his leg in the package art.
That's one thing I did. I don't think I got an image of that package art. Let me just see.
Didn't I specifically tell you to get an image of that package art, Chris?
I did.
I specifically told you to get a picture of that.
You did. You ordered me to, and I did. Look, I'm there.
All right,
so
beautiful.
Tony Daniel or Tony Danza is doing the card art for this one, and really, really cool again. And like you say, the snake wrapped around the leg. I've only just realised that because obviously while we were watching that show all together, I was frantically taking images and posting them, and it's such a process that I was kind of missing what was actually going on. So this is awesome. Take us through some of your thoughts on the artwork here. I'll start with you, Adam, being the artist. What are your thoughts on that artwork?
It's cool. I think with one of the things with classified that's always interesting to me is that they're doing the pieces as the one big image, like poster size, but then they have to find a way to get it to wrap around the side of the box. And so like you can see in the case of this, that obviously the two images of Zartan were done on separate layers and were able to be manipulated. And we'll get into some of the other ones later, but it's really interesting to me when they find ways to get it to flow around that corner seamlessly, where your eyes sort of travel. For me, it's pretty straightforward. Like, it's not really design heavy like some of the other ones are, like Firefly specifically. We'll get into, but I think it's really cool, and I think that is the same snake that's on his leg, which I think is kind of a fun nod that snake probably wasn't around much longer after that shot was taken.
Paddy, what are your thoughts on Zartan?
That's grand. I'm just looking at Tony Daniel's rendition of my own face. It's quite it's quite something.
We're definitely going to have to do a Paddy Lennon custom, aren't we, when this Zartan comes out? And you're going to have to buy this specifically for your own face, aren't you, Paddy?
I'm going to have to buy this Zartan. They're actually forcing me to buy it. This is horrendous.
There you go, Hasbro. Just put a face of every Hasbro, every G.I. Joe fan in your action figures, and they'll buy them that way. Yeah, really cool. Pat, overall thoughts?
I don't know how I feel about the eyes not being painted in on the mask. It looks great whenever it's in the back.
I mean, that's accurate. I actually don't have any pupils in my own eyes, Pat, if you look closely.
But I also love that there's a bit of a distinction between the Dreadnoks being their own entity while at the same time being a part of Cobra. It seems like there's definitely some symbolism in him having the head of a snake. You know, he's definitely within Cobra, but it creates that internal conflict, and he's got the Dreadnoks of his own. So I just kind of enjoy that whenever there's a little bit of something going on within Cobra, which has definitely been part of Zartan's story before.
Absolutely. Who's left? Who haven't I spoken to? Justin, what are your overalls?
Yeah. Well, Zartan, he's one of my favorite characters, and he's actually been one of those characters that's been kind of difficult for Hasbro to nail ever since the first version. But I think this is really a beautiful update. It takes advantage of all of the great things that you can do at a larger scale. I love that he's got kind of that classic themed pistol. I love the backpack with the Paddy mask. I think that's a great addition, and all those unique, the monkey's paw and snake head is just it's really an amazing looking figure. I'm just kind of blown away by it. It's one of those figures that I think you're going to spend a long time kind of looking at and finding new cool little details every time you do, like the layered panels on the hood, and I think we saw an image that the hood was actually removable, didn't we? I thought we saw an image of him without the hood. Yeah. So yeah, there's just all sorts of cool little touches that are mixed in there that that you can. It's going to be an awesome figure to have, and I think it's going to kind of offer some really unique poses and playability and stuff. It's great.
It's interesting that they've got the Paddy Lennon head in the backpack and the Justin Bell head on Zartan himself, which is really cool.
Including the eye makeup. Yeah, I wear that makeup every day.
Amazing. Well,
that it wasn't hair. It was a hood. Can you believe it? Also, we should touch on this.
It's always been a hood.
It's interesting to me that the Dreadnoks specifically get called out as a sub-team, but there's these things with like Destro being merged into Cobra now and not a part of Mars, and the Red Ninja having the Cobra symbol on his headband instead of the Urashikage. So yeah. I don't know what the Dreadnoks did to survive the sub-team purge, but good on them.
Interesting that. I think I would have preferred the Red Ninjas to have had that almost like Arashikage separation. And I think I would have, like, I know we've also seen Mars logos in product imagery for Destro, but yeah, I know what you're saying. It almost feels like there's a lot of kind of, we're just going to lump it into Cobra. But you never know. We'll see how the story progresses with these figures, because, like you say, if they're doing a separation now with the Dreadnoks, that could mean that they are separating these factions all over again. Now, this is interesting, right? The next one is interesting. Well, I'll give like a little bit of a background. We believed that, well, we knew it was going to be a redeco Cobra Trooper that was on its way. We didn't, however, realize that it was going to be this particular redeco. We all agreed, didn't we, guys, that we thought it was going to be a black deco Cobra Trooper. So apologies to all the people that we discussed that with, but this is actually what we got. The Cobra Trooper, non-Target exclusive, so this one should be easy to get on Pulse and elsewhere when they come out in retail. So people, I think this goes a long way, I think, in repairing what was a pretty diabolical rollout of product at Target. What would you say to that, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm really thrilled that this Cobra deco is relatively close to the Target exclusive one with some minor kind of cosmetic changes, and obviously the accessory changes too. He doesn't have that red armband or the goggles by the looks of it. But I'm really glad they made that choice. I think that's the right choice, because yeah, I agree. The Hasbro and Target were kind of working towards a pretty broken relationship between themselves and their fans when they offered, the Cobra Trooper as a Target exclusive, and it became impossible to find, and it's still impossible to find, and it's still on eBay for $100 and something, and really caused a frustration point with the fandom. And I think this, you're right, it goes a long way towards fixing that relationship. And for folks that aren't completists and just want to build a bunch of Cobra armies, I think this is great, and they're doing this just in time to then release the Cobra Viper and break that relationship all over again. But
I was going to say fixing it for about 30 minutes until they reveal a Cobra Viper.
Exactly. So the Cobra Viper does it again. Yeah. So I mean, we can only hope this is sort of a precedent they're setting, and that maybe we're due for a Cobra Viper, mass release somewhere down the line. I mean, who knows for sure, but I think that's what everybody is hoping. But I think the changes they made here are really good. They're subtle. It's clearly a distinct figure, separate and apart from the Target exclusive, but it's close enough that I think collectors will be overall happy. If they didn't get an opportunity to build an army with the Target exclusive one, they have an opportunity to do it with this one. And just, I really hope they do the same thing with the Cobra Viper somewhere down the line.
Absolutely. What about Adam? What are your thoughts on this?
I love that they did this for a variety of reasons, obviously to kind of fix the situation with Target, but also in the 25th line, there were so many times where they released just like a basic Cobra Trooper with minor variants, like when they did Flint in Disguise or in a multi-pack or a single card or with a gas mask or whatever. And it was cool because even if you only got one of each figure over time, you started to build an army and they all had just enough variety to feel distinct. And so I actually hope that this trend continues for quite some time and that this figure keeps getting released in multi-packs with little differences and stuff. But yeah, I only got one of the last one, the last go around, and I felt lucky to even do that. And that was with them shipping in cases of 6. So the fact that this one will be mass retail and on Pulse, I'm thrilled and hope that this trend continues.
Awesome. And Pat?
I really love it. I think that if you already have some of the Target exclusives, that you could mix a few parts here and there with this one to have a variety of looking.
Yeah.
I also... The Cobra Trooper was the first figure I ever got back in 1982, so it started me off with G.I. Joe. So it's always going to have a very special spot for me. But the fact that the basic Cobra Trooper only came with a sniper rifle was a little weird. So I think that the forward planning of putting the sniper rifle in with the Target exclusive so that is available, but making the standard not a sniper rifle makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I mean, Paddy, anything else to add to that?
No, everybody else has covered it quite well.
Okay.
Oh, we didn't talk about the new modular upgrade with the 3 holes in the back. I thought that was pretty cool. So you can, Lenny was explaining that you can now configure the weapons in different ways so that you can kind of pack them out differently to get them to all look a little bit distinct. I think that between that and the armband with the last release, they've done a lot of nice little things to help you kind of mix up your army a bit.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I still think I get the feeling that the fandom is still reeling from the whole Target exclusive debacle, and unfortunately,
we get to repeat it all at 5 p.m. This evening.
Yeah, so one more thing, obviously, there's a slight variation in the artwork by Kikai Kataki. So it's really, I mean, that artwork's amazing anyway. But I believe there's an element of variation in there that they mentioned. Just so you know, that's what they'll be, that's the package it'll be coming in. But then we were also given this amazing reveal. They led into Firefly with a rather long talk about the Target kind of theme of Cobra Island, and I noticed they veered away from mentioning Target for some time in that talk, which I thought was quite interesting. But
they literally said it once when the
right at the end,
where the pre-orders were going to be. Yeah, they just did not mention Target whatsoever until telling you where to pre-order it.
Exactly. And well, first off, we got this Firefly, and I must admit, I think he looks amazing. I think there's so many cool upgrades this particular character's gone through in this figure, and all of the cool accessories it comes with, including that little blooming drone, which has got little leggies as well. It's amazing. I think it's incredible. I'm all about this. Paddy, let's start with you, mate. What are your thoughts on this Firefly?
It's a really nice mix of 25th anniversary in Pursuit of Cobra with the bomb disposal jacket and so on.
Yeah,
it's very kind of Pursuit of Cobra looking. I love the backpack. I think that's really nicely planned out. An upgrade to his original toolkit with all the removable. There's places to store his weapons. There's a removable data pad in there. I think that's a really, really nice accessory.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the accessories really make this for me. What about you, Pat?
I think it looks like he's carrying a Nerf Vortex gun, which I love that to begin with. You can kind of see where a stock would clip on there in the back. So I'm fairly certain that somebody will be identifying which one that is. I'm not sure if it's the Praxis or not. Maybe this is just a trend with me, but I really want to see him without the vest on to see what he looks like underneath there.
You just want to see these guys naked. It's fine, man. You can say, you can.
No judgments here, Pat.
And the other thing that I want to say is that there's a great irony in that the entire concept of this Cobra Island set is that everybody's looking for Roadblock, but in reality, Roadblock is the one that everybody can actually find.
That is absolutely genius. I'm glad you mentioned that, because it is funny that they kept talking about that in the stream. They're like, they're all after Roadblock. He's run into the mountains, and it's going to be Firefly and the next guy that we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, you're right, and the fact that Roadblock has literally been the easiest figure. That's even one we managed to get hold of out here, which is saying something. When
if I could find the Baroness, I could tell her that Roadblock's right at the target.
Firefly, if you're looking, check any target.
Justin, what are your thoughts, mate?
Well, I love this figure. I mean, it takes some cues, actually, I think, kind of from the Resolute version, who had that kind of bomb disposal jacket on as well. I'm one of those guys that isn't 100% devoutly attached to the vintage iterations of these figures. So the fact that they took some design cues from, like the gray camouflage, but really did a lot of new things too, is really, really awesome. I really love the Firefly a lot. I'm kind of with Pat on this. I kind of want to see him undressed. I mean, without his armor. I think, depending on kind of the texture of his chest under there. I'd like to kind of see, maybe a little bit of a more streamlined look if you can get that without the bomb disposal. I mean, I love that part of it, but in G.I. Joe lore, he's also kind of a stealthy ninja, so he doesn't look very stealthy or ninja-like in this particular rendition. But still, he looks fantastic, and the accessories, like Paddy said, are just absolutely amazing. I love that the drone can kind of hook into the top of his backpack. I love he's got a data pad that kind of conceals itself in there. The shot they had of the drone carrying the explosives with him controlling it with the data pad was just really, really awesome. Just adds a lot of character and a lot of kind of storyline potential to the line. It's just really impressive the way they can kind of, there it is. Beautiful. They just one small photograph like that just adds a ton of character to the figure. It's really great. And one thing that I actually no, we can get that with the Cobra Viper. Never mind. I'll talk about that later. But
you've now spoiled every single character we're going to talk about, Justin, every single time. It's amazing.
That's why I'm here. I'm here to ruin everybody's fun.
Before we get on to that one, what are your thoughts on this one, Profit Director Riches?
This figure is hot. Add me to Naked Club. I want to see him without that vest.
By the way, I'm the only one that wants to see him without pants. Is that wrong?
I don't.
That's Chris's next podcast, the Full Force Naked Club.
I love the drone. I think the legs on it are really cool. It kind of looks like a miniature like ATST chicken walker almost. And I also think it's really funny how when you've got it hooked up to his back, he kind of looks like he's got like two like speaker subwoofer deal behind the ears there.
Or Mickey Mouse ears.
I'm feeling that. You get the singed look on his face. I think that's super cool too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I mean the detail on that it's phenomenal. Like that's the one thing that I think has been like the biggest step up by far in Classified. When you look at the figures with balaclava heads and you just see what that photo reel, the DIJ printing is doing to the eyes, they look so lifelike. It's incredible. I mean, you can even see like how the eyes almost look wet, like there's so much detail in them. And obviously the sculpt on this is phenomenal too. So, props to Corey for that one. But yeah, I think this is a home run all the way. Love it.
Amazing stuff. Anything else?
You won't be able to get one.
Yeah, that is a good point though. I mean, we've got three like if you want the retro stuff, you want the classified stuff, and you want all of it, you're going to be looking at three different fronts today. You're going to be looking at 5 o'clock, Target, Walmart, and Pulse. Now, I would probably suggest going for the one you want the most. If that happens to be in the Target exclusives, then go for that first, because they're going to go almost instantly. Walmart, you're probably also going to have a time, like a difficult time as well, like especially with the Fang helicopter. That will probably go early if that's what you're after. So just bear that in mind, because you might just have to wait a little bit on some of these. You may have to wait quite some time and wait for the retail on some of them as well. So it's up to you really how you're going to approach this. I'm concerned about that, in all honesty. I'm not going to lie. Having to be on 3 different fronts trying to order this stuff, it's going to be difficult, especially when Target's going to sell out in seconds. There's no doubt about it. That's going to go.
I don't even know why you'd even bother trying Target, to be honest, because you're just not going to get them.
You tell everyone that, Paddy. Hopefully everyone listening won't bother, and we'll have at least 2 minutes of
try go get the other stuff. I mean, if the Target stuff is really, really, really what you want, try, but I don't think you're going to even sniff it.
Yeah, I might just wait for retail.
Sorry, I just want to throw out an idea to our adoring fan base. As you can see, there's 5 of us here. These come in cases of 6. So if you happen to stumble upon a case, you keep one for yourself, and you win all of our forever love and affection.
Absolutely.
I'm just glad that my face is coming on a figure that won't be a Target exclusive.
Yeah, that's true. You'll be able to get the Pulse one, no worries. Okay, well, that's Firefly, and we also get this gorgeous art from Jeremy Wilson too, which I think is so vibrant, so interesting. I mean, it's enveloped mainly in an explosion, which is just like so. I mean, it makes the image really pop, doesn't it? That kind of Firefly artwork. Again, we'll come to Adam, who is the artist of the bunch, not the con artist. That's anyone else. Adam, what do you think about this particular piece?
I really like this one. I mean, first of all, it's just very unique for G.I. Joe. It kind of breaks the norm of what you'd expect, I think, for that sort of overly rendered hyper-realism. This is much more stylized. But this one really perfectly encapsulates what I was talking about earlier, which is that you can tell that this design was so purposeful in being built to perfectly wrap around the side of the box like that, so that you get the headshot, on the side panel, and you get the other panel to perfectly frame the front. So I think it was just extremely well crafted. And I think a lot of people maybe don't realize how much forethought goes into that. But Jeremy Wilson really knocked it out with the design on this.
Totally.
I really love it. I think, like Adam said, it's very stylized. I like the little drones kind of coming out of the smoke. It's a lot more unusual than kind of some of the other art, but the way he framed it around the corner of the package, it's really fantastic looking stuff.
Are we going to have to get multiples of Firefly just to get lots of little drones? We are, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck with that, guys.
Well,
good
then
luck.
you can have your armored Firefly and your naked Firefly. You can have both.
That's true.
I just want the pantsless Firefly.
I do hope that you do, like, since this is going to be a Target exclusive, I do hope that you get an alternate redeco Firefly later on down the line as a mainline figure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that will happen with most of the exclusive product. If we'll see Beachhead again down the line, if we'll see.
Yeah. So we're already pretty sure there's going to be a single pack Baroness. With the
100%.
gold trim and all that stuff. So if they re-release Beachhead, then that takes care of wave 1. And then, if that happens, then I think we should feel pretty confident the same thing will happen going forward, which makes us a little less painful, unless you're like me, you just absolutely cannot wait and will end up buying, 10 Vipers on eBay for $100 before they release it for 20, like in 2 months. But
you're the problem. Right.
I am the problem. Yes. Just ask my wife. I'm the problem.
Yes. As someone who's never seen Sunbow, are his colors in Sunbow markedly different than what you have here?
They're just a lot more basic.
Maybe like they've done a Sunbow colors Trooper. Maybe you'll see a Sunbow colors Firefly.
I mean, it's simply just a blotch. It's like, a base gray within a dark blotch on it. That's pretty much what the color scheme is. So they could simplify the deco possibly. But yeah, we'll see, I guess. Pat, what are your thoughts on Firefly and the overall and this particular artwork?
I think it looks good. I really kind of want to see a bigger enlarged version of this picture, because I can kind of see, is that Cobra Island there, that mountain with those 2 snakes facing each other?
Looks like it, yeah.
I just want to see, a little bit closer up of this. I've loved how they even mentioned, actually, that the art is kind of telling the story. One of the things that we talked about, I think, before, is the fact that without a file card in the back, and if they did have a file card, the Retro series is showing us there's not a way really to put enough information on the package again.
Yeah.
I think that some of the art for the classified series is kind of taking the place of that and giving you a little bit of a backstory for some of the characters, or at least telling a kid that may not be familiar with G.I. Joe, you know, who this character is and what they do.
Yeah, 100%.
That well, you know, Firefly, explosions, you know, Saboteur, you know that by seeing this. And so it really does its job.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what something you mentioned there when you said Cobra Island, I've just noticed, I've just see the details. We're looking like almost like a ground level shot of the front of Cobra Island as we, you know, almost like a lower shot than the back packaging shows us. And you can see all those like beautiful details inside what is like the Cobra sigil kind of ribbing and stuff inside. And it's really cool that you can make out some amazing details on that Cobra Island. It's just beautifully done at that level. It's just absolutely fantastic stuff. So yeah, I'm really feeling that.
You can almost make out in the clouds where it says "buy more roadblocks."
like in the Lion King, like in the cloud.
Do you think that might have just been like a, considering there are no file cards, you think the fact that this story has suddenly become centralized around Roadblock, you think that might just be a little bit of a Hasbro marketing genius to be like, man, we got to move Roadblocks. Everyone's looking for Roadblock.
Could be. That's a very good spot. It's like, yeah, they're not going to put anything past us. Okay, so next up, this again is mixed feelings, but my goodness, I love this figure, the Viper. Now, when this one came out, again, we knew about this. We knew about this in Firefly, in actual fact. We knew about these figures on the way. We knew the Viper was going to be revealed today, and my goodness, I wasn't expecting something quite like this. He looks amazing, but the target sword of Damocles just hanging over this whole situation. I can't shake that. And the fact that I would want, like, you know, this is going to sound really greedy. Of course it is. I'm a toy collector, but I want multiples of these army builders. They're army builders, you know, that you want multiples.
Yeah.
Of them. I don't want like 20 of them, but like 2 minimum, 3 or 4 at the very maximum for me is kind of my like that's what I'm kind of aiming at. But I just know this is going to be really difficult to get hold of. But my God, what an amazing figure! What are your thoughts? Let's start with Justin on this one. What are your thoughts on the Viper?
I'm really blown away. I mean, I kind of, you know, as you said, we kind of suspected this figure was on the way. To be honest, I sort of half expected them to just kind of recolor a Cobra Trooper and add a new head and some new accessories, but they just went completely, you know, balls out with this one with all the different padding and kind of the more modern style. I really love, even though it's somewhat factually inaccurate, I do like how they consider the Vipers kind of the SEAL team of the Cobra side, even though that really is the Cobra heels, not the Vipers. But, you know, at the same time, total nerd. But at the same time, you know, I really like kind of this combination, these various factions of Cobra, you know, army builders that are starting to come together. The modernized head sculpt is great. You know, the little neckerchief is a really cool touch. I really like kind of the vibrant blues and reds. It's a great figure. And one thing that I really like that Lenny touched on is that I think starting with the Viper, the weapons are going to start having these little kind of 1.5 millimeter holes in the barrel that could be used for blast effects and fire effects and stuff like that, which is a really awesome touch. That's something I'm really looking forward to. But I mean, like you say, I mean, all the positive stuff you have to say about this figure is all kind of under a dark cloud of Target exclusivity, which is really, really frustrating. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have some friends who helped me out with Wave 1, but still, you know, in spite of that, you know, I didn't get everything I wanted, and it wasn't nearly as easy or stress-free as I would have liked it to be, or as inexpensive, you know. So I mean, it's really frustrating, and I think it was Patrick that mentioned earlier that, you know, yesterday there was a series of Star Wars exclusives. I think it was the holiday-themed figures. And they're exclusive through several different retailers, and somehow 3 of those retailers went fine. Target crapped the bed and was impossible to find. So I mean, you got to wonder, like, what's going on? What's the reason for that? You know, I don't anticipate it being a smooth process. I may not even try Target at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or, if I do, they're going to be sold out by 5 o'clock in 2 seconds anyway. So that'll still give me plenty of time to go to Pulse and get the stuff there.
They sell out so quick. It's almost like they sell out at 4:59. It's like it goes live at 5 and somehow sells out 3 minutes prior. It's that fast.
Yeah.
There's so many stories of people. There's so many people who had stories of the Cobra Trooper disappearing from their cart. This is going to be the same.
Yeah, totally.
It is. Yeah. So I'm really excited. On one hand, I'm really excited for the figures. On the other hand, the Target stuff is really a pain in the ass. And, obviously if the Trooper is any indication then that's possible, they will be releasing this as a, single mass retail, product somewhere down the line, but nobody really knows when or if. So it just continues creating furor on the Target side. And it's really frustrating, but, it is what it is. And I know I will get it eventually. How much I pay for it and when it happens, I guess we'll come to see. But figures are great anyway.
Big shout out to all the people that have helped all of us acquire these figures. Like I know we've all had help from different kind of areas. So big shout out to all those people. Also,
I don't want to overstate that. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have friends that have actually found Cobra Troopers that they could have flipped on eBay for $80 and still bought them and shipped them to me and sold them to me for cost. And I'm really thankful to have that group. But I know not everybody has that network of people that will help them out. And even so, there's a limit. I mean, even my friends didn't find Cobra Troopers for long. So I got a couple. Which was better than a lot of people did. So I should probably just stop complaining.
Yeah, stop complaining. Stop moaning, Justin. I should also say a couple of people are kind of questioning what 3 questions coming in on the comments. I just want to say I'm not ignoring you just now. We just want to get through the actual products first, and then I'll come to the comments afterwards. But a few people were wondering or confused about what's what. Zartan and the Cobra Trooper will be Pulse Pulse pre-orders at 5 p.m. and Firefly and the Viper will be Target.com exclusive pre-orders at 5. So the basically the 4 figures are split, into different areas to get them. So just saying that out now. So just a few people questioning that. Okay. Before we move on, obviously, Pat, I want to hear from you on your thoughts on the Viper.
Well, I'm going to echo what we've been saying about the frustrations with Target. But on the flip side, I think that when we are upset with some of that stuff, it's also fair to call out Hasbro Pulse for the amazing job that they were doing yesterday, day before, with getting some of their exclusives, because I see a lot of really happy people actually with some of the stuff that they had available, because people were actually able to get it.
Yeah.
That made me really happy. On the specific Viper figure, I am really interested in the rifle a lot, because it's because of my nephew that I've taken an interest in Nerf. I don't think that this one is Nerf, but one of the things that is amazing about the Nerf, the actual Nerf toy line, is how modular and buildable it is. And I think that one of the things that I like here is that I see that there's the possibility to have a blast effect to the end of it, which, that's not really building a different accessory, but the magazine that's changeable, you could actually have like a drum magazine out later that could be put into there. And if you can create some compatibility with some of the accessories between each other within the toy line, I think that could expand things even more. I know that people were complaining about the other Cobra Island figures, that Beachhead's accessories were all just solid green.
Yeah.
No paint on them. I think that this is a big improvement over that. If you're going to have it just be a solid color, solid black is great. But the fact that they have made that magazine removable, to me, is a promise for the future. I think that a retail Viper maybe come with a blast effect. And down the line, who knows what else they could do with these accessories.
Pat, you might notice the 1.5 millimeter port. Is that the same size port that the Transformers figures have for the siege weapon blast effects?
The siege blast effects would not work, I don't think, because the siege blast effects actually are a hole on the blast effect.
Okay.
That the tip of the gun has a peg on it that it fixes into.
Yeah, holes on holes.
It works out well for Transformers because I don't think I have any right here. I do, but I don't have.
I think the Marvel Legends stuff has started doing a lot of those blast effects, though. Would those be compatible?
I think some of them may be. I know that Philip had done a review of the Wave 1 G.I. Joe classified stuff, and he actually used some of the blast effects from what's the video game that Hasbro put out? I'm blanking on it.
Operation Blackout.
Yes, and some of those figures are actually relatively cheap right now. So if you want to get ahead on some of the blast effects, maybe you could do Hasbro the favor of clearing out some of those from Ross and wherever else they may have them. New ones. I don't know if there are new ones of those coming out. But I think that there are. I think Black Widow may have come with some black.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. One last, we've got Adam as well to talk on the Viper. What are your thoughts on that, buddy?
Same as everybody else with the Target stuff. It's a bummer that you see Hasbro Pulse has catered to a lot of other lines with Army Builder packs. Like they've done a 2-pack of Putty Patrollers. They've done a 2 limit on Hellfire Soldiers, AIM Soldiers. So all these other lines you've been able to Army build easily through Hasbro Pulse, and we can't here. And I'm sure that's going to be rectified at some point. I think this will be the same exact situation as the Trooper. But yeah, that said, I think the figure is a really nice design. It feels classic, but it has all the modern upgrades and all the little hallmarks that you see on classified figures, like the interior leg stitching and the shoulder pads and all that stuff. So very cool. I don't know what the deal is with the neckerchiefs that seem to be on sale lately. Everybody, but that maybe it's Tunnel Rat in disguise or Zartan. But it's an awesome figure. Agree with the black accessories. Very cool, and can't wait to own one if I ever see one.
Yeah, good luck. We also got some amazing artwork by Anthony Petrie as well. I mean, this is freaking awesome, I think. Again, like Adam will come to you on this one, but the similar kind of vibe, isn't there, where you've got like a main image, but they've actually done quite a lot to like almost make it fit the box on this one. They've switched one of the Vipers on there. They've kind of the horizontal plane's been like flipped, hasn't it? So you've got them like flipped around on the front of the image, and they've also kind of managed to get the Viper team kind of like lined up nicely up the side. So what do you think of that one?
Yeah, I'm not sure why they had to flip the one in the front without actually putting it on the template, because it very much again looks purposeful to me, like it was designed to wrap around the side. But and on that note, shout out to the art directors on these, Sean and Cecil, because I think they've found a lot of really talented artists, and they've really cobbled together some very cool stuff. I think at first, and I'll admit I was one of them that thought it was a really bad idea to have all this disjointed art, but I think seeing them come together now, it's like, it's almost like another reveal. It's a secondary treat each time to see how that one can be handled. I've really come to appreciate that. I remember in the early 90s, there was I think Pepsi did a promotion like that where they had all these different like Art Deco cans, they called them.
Yeah.
But it was so cool, it's very fun to kind of see a big set of variety like that. And I think it's working really well. And it's also giving G.I. Joe Classified a unique aesthetic that no other modern toy line has. It's kind of, the variety is sort of, it's becoming its hallmark. But for this art specifically, I just think it's really beautifully rendered, and I really like the way that the flame pattern, and you can kind of see some of the Cobra sigil and the almost like the Alley Viper shield shape sort of in the back top left there. Just a real design, like the way that it all has that curvature.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another thing, just to add to something Adam has said there, the variety of artists they're getting and the variety of styles they work in is really something that I think is helping the artwork here. They're all using different mediums. You had Tracy Ching, who uses a lot of silk screen stuff. You have comic art, people who are more known for their comic art. And then you have more people who are more like commercial illustrator or design, mechanical illustrators and so on. I think that's helping, that you have a broad, it's not just one type of artist they're getting lots of people who work in different mediums and styles. And I think that helps make the artwork more exciting every time it's revealed, because you're like, what's this one going to be like? Because none of them no two of them look the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, basically, let's come out of the images now. I think we've discussed everything pretty in depth there, and let's focus on us. Let's focus on our beautiful faces for and Adam as well. I'm kidding, Adam. You're gorgeous. Right. So first off,
that hair, man, that hair is getting me, Adam. I can't stop staring.
You're so jealous, aren't you, right now?
I am. Look, I can't do shit with this.
Justin, it's before the watershed. We can't swear yet. I'm kidding.
Well, I said Leonard in the corpse earlier.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You did. Yeah, you dropped those. You dropped the C word. Anyway, big shout out to everyone that's watching along. Thanks again for kind of jumping on. We're not finishing just yet, obviously. A big shout out to obviously all of the people that have tuned in, stayed with us, and kind of watched along, including my mom, who gave us a lot of hearts, guys. So that's one.
We love you, Mom.
That's one for everyone, I think.
We love you, Chris's mom.
All right, leave it, Paddy. We'll have words afterwards. Let's go through some. I mean, we've had a few questions kind of coming through, and a few kind of just people just meant like saying, commenting and so on and so forth. I picked a few out. A figure I'll never see or be able to purchase. I imagine you're talking about the Target exclusives there, Brian. Yeah, that is something that does concern us all. But like I said, I kind of feel like I was patient with it, but at the same time very fortunate that other people were able to buy them for me and send them to me. So I'm not going to say that, like, oh, just wait, you'll find them, no worries. It is a bit of a slog, and it's one of those things where you either have to be a bit more proactive, and even then, going out to Targets at 8 a.m. just didn't seem to work either, because I would have no one in front of me. I'd go in there, nothing, and then you ask them, oh no, that comes out the next month, and it's like, it doesn't though, does it? And here's proof that it doesn't, and you have them in stock, and all sorts of issues that were going on like that. So I can't wait for more of that. That's going to be fun.
I do want to get in here real quick on that topic. Jeremy Padawer of Jazzware / Wicked Cool Toys, they're doing the AEW wrestling figures right now, and the first series has been incredibly difficult to find at Walmart. And obviously, they're getting all the same complaints that Joe fans are right now. And he's been very transparent, and his response to that was that when you are trying to get a new line into retail, especially when it's an exclusive, you really want to kind of under order and prove the market. And if you go to most Targets, you'll see that at best they have 1 or 2 pegs dedicated to Joe. And Joe hasn't been at mainline retail in 8 years, so I think that right now we're really in the stage of needing to kind of reclaim territory and prove that this brand is viable. And I think that I personally wouldn't be surprised at all to see if they ordered heavier this go around.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. I think one of the main issues was the tech aspect. The online situation with Target was one of the main kind of concerns, because
street nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it was gone. And then there was all the, what I loved, something that Pat mentioned earlier in when we were talking about Hasbro Pulse doing a really good job, was the fact that I had a capture to deal with straight away. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay, this is good. Like, so, it was the first time I've actually been happy to see that capture come up and have to
try to find traffic lights on a picture.
Traffic lights and how many buses are in this? I'm like, oh god. But like, it's funny because sometimes like I'm like, does that sliver on the back of the bus does that count? And then you press it and it does seem to count. So okay, great. But yeah, I was really happy to see that. So that was something that was obviously Hasbro Pulse. What was funny was I wasn't expecting it to be a straight up order, and obviously for premium Pulse members, again, I'm not saying you should do this, but like I was happy to be one, to get in there early, to order it, and for it to be coming now. It's already been shipped to me. That is like, I'm like, what? And then the pre-orders the next day were for March, and I'm thinking, I'm kind of glad I was a premium member for that one. But again, like, the fact that these Cobra Commanders, they're doing another run of them, the Snake Supreme ones, that is brilliant for the fandom, because it means that more people are going to be able to get them.
Speaking of which, they also mentioned that Deluxe Snake Eyes is getting a re-release as well this evening.
Brilliant. Isn't that brilliant? Look, so many people were kind of annoyed that they missed out on that. So there's going to be another opportunity to do that at 5 p.m, guys. So bear in mind, I would probably, if you want that, focus on Pulse. Target, I'm not even sure if it's worth bothering, honestly.
I
I'm
don't
just
even
going to.
know. Yeah.
I don't think it is either.
No, I don't think I'm going to bother. I'm just going to get Pat to find them for me and send them to me. Is that all right, Pat?
We should show the graphic of Jim Cramer from that Mad Money show being like, sell snake eyes, sell high, sell.
So true. John Campbell says this line has come a long way since Wave 1. And it really has, hasn't it? I mean, Justin, is that,
Amazing.
Can you talk on that for a while, for about 10 minutes while I find the next comment? Thanks, mate.
It's amazing just looking at kind of what, beginning of this year, we didn't even know classified was really going to exist. I mean, we didn't get the first images, I think, until that whole Toy Fair debacle in February, where we kind of, they were leaked early, and so Toy Fair was kind of, not as exciting as it could have been. But I mean, that was 7 months ago. So going from not even knowing something existed to this whole wealth of products. There was a period of time where I was getting like new classified toys, every week for like a month straight. It's crazy, and but crazy in a good way. And then, I've heard some people kind of muttering about the reveals today and saying, "Oh, only 4 new figures, and they're all Cobras." And I can understand that, but at the same time, it's going from essentially 0 to 80 in the matter of 7 months is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
a lot of different products, a lot of different interesting products. Like Lenny said, they're really breaking new ground with almost every single release and really finding some cool new things to do. And it's funny that, I thought kind of Wave 1 was really the epitome of, not really the epitome, but a really great kind of landmark refresh of the line. Yet almost every release since Wave 1 has been even better than the previous. So it's only getting better and more impressive. So it's really kind of amazing how far things have come, and we were worried at one point that, the Cobra Army builder is going to be the Red Ninja. That's kind of lame. But no, not at all.
I mean,
exactly. Yeah. Now we've got a bunch.
Assuming you can find more than one figure to troop build.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the challenge right now.
You can also troop build Roblox. You can treat real
Roblox
as well. So Richard L. Cox says, one question, where the hell is Outback? And I wonder if that's because you thought the mock-up I did of Outback a little while ago was actually a real reveal. It wasn't. It was a mock-up. Stephen Adamski says, yes, Zartan is amazing. Maybe they could have done a swamp skier pack a la Baroness and Coil, but still very happy with this. What would you think? What would your thoughts on that, Pat? What are your thoughts on a swamp skier? Would you be interested in something like that?
I certainly would be. One of the features of the original swamp skier that I think that maybe could work out for that kind of thing is the fact that it was modular.
Yeah,
it was supposed to come apart, so that it could look like garbage as well. We haven't.
Hang on. Do you mean look like garbage or look like garbage? Which one do you mean?
Well, I mean, look awesome when assembled.
Okay, good. But as in like it's carrying garbage.
Well, you were supposed to
I'm just trying to be clear. Just trying to be clear for the viewers. He doesn't mean like look rubbish. He means like look like what it was supposed to look like. But carry on.
That is correct. Yes. The fact that it could come apart, or that was part of the idea of it. I think one of the things I would love to see eventually, and I don't think that this is going to happen or anything like that anytime soon, but some Build-A-Figure stuff has been successful in the Marvel stuff. Maybe we could get Build-A-Vehicle things in G.I. Joe, and I think that the Swamp Skier would be an obvious choice for that. There are several Dreadnoks who are characters that exist.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Target exclusive Dreadnought wave, Swamp Skier, and watch the fandom go mental.
The meltdown. Well, just on us. We'd just all be crying on the stream the entire time.
That way about bats. They could definitely do build a bat, because if you get part of a bat, hey, that's okay.
Part of because it'd be like a piece. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Rob Osborne says plastic is not better, Paddy. I'm guessing he's talking about Destro on that one.
We'll have to agree to disagree. I have the 50th Snake Eyes and the retro Snake Eyes in front of me, and the difference in quality is night and day.
Okay, so it could be the same for Destro.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll be the same for Destro.
What have we got here? Vince Arduini says, so exciting. My wife keeps asking me, what's that stupid grin on your face? So it's probably because either they're watching us or they're getting the reveals come through.
It's actually grimacing because he realizes that the best figures today were Target exclusives.
Well, that's another thing. A lot of people are saying #NoMoreTarget, which is which seems to be kind of doing the rounds. And I wasn't looking at the comments. By the way, I've avoided comments when we've been watching the actual Hasbro events because I just think it just gets really toxic. And apparently, there's been a lot of no more Target hashtags, and they're hoping that Hasbro hears this in a sense. But
the top 3 toy retailers in the world right now are Target, Walmart, and Amazon. They're going to do exclusives for all 3 of them, guys. It's how the toy industry works.
Yeah, I think if you're asking for them not to sell their toys at Target, you're asking for the line to fail. So I don't think we want that to happen. I hate them as much as everybody else, but at some point, you got to take what you can get.
If Toys R Us still existed, there'd be a Toys R Us exclusive as well. And it's just the way the market is at the moment.
Here's what I don't understand. One of the things that was great for Pulse is that you had the day one that was for members, and they really did seem limited to 1 per. Well, Target in the past has done deals with Hasbro for Red Wing within Transformers, where Red Wing was available only to Target Red Card members at first. Why have they not tried that with G.I. Joe? Why have they not done a thing where it's exclusive to Red Card members? Because then they would be able to track, 1 per person to prevent you from getting multiples.
Yeah.
And then you could have a day where, okay, Red Card members are going to get those Joes on day 1. And, if you don't have a Red Card, that stinks. But at the same time, I think that it would help distribute them out amongst multiple people rather than just a few.
Yeah.
Quite an aggressive stance here by Peyton, who says, stop defending Hasbro on the Target stuff. The fact you think this repairs anything on the same day they announce Target exclusives are laughable. Okay, Peyton, I mean, you're welcome to your opinion. That's totally fine. We're not really defending anybody
here. We've literally spent an hour slagging them off.
A long time saying that
we were complaining quite a bit, actually.
We don't want, this situation. But as Paddy just mentioned, Target is one of the biggest retailers in, it's going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. Yes, I understand the pain. We're all going through that pain. It's not just, it's not just...
I don't have any Cobra Troopers. I will never see one.
Because Paddy lives in...
Target flag for life.
Set that on fire, Adam. Anyway.
Yes.
Also,
maybe the plastic smell will ruin all those figures in the shelves behind you.
Jason says, hey, Adam, can you dress up next time? So just keep that in mind, mate, next time, yeah?
I'll consider.
Phil Donnelly still doesn't have a Baroness. I'm surprised at that. I'm looking at Pat as you failed your friend there, Pat.
Yeah, I have. I still keep looking.
Phil also says 100% live nude Joes, which is interesting. So yeah, we're not going to do that. The upper body is from Beachhead, says John Campbell. Who's he talking about on that one in particular?
Firefly, I think.
Okay.
Firefly, maybe.
Okay. Well, John,
the arms, kind of the mix of the kind of textured arms and bare arms kind of looked like the Beachhead arms, I think. Yes, that might be what he's talking about.
When you say bare arms, I just think of that FSS we did with giraffe neck and shark legs. And anyway, by the way, Adam, can we get the images for FSS 6, please, so that we can get that posted?
Why? Don't you understand?
He's busy fanning himself of money to bother doing any Photoshop work today.
Diana says his nads are well protected, that's for sure. And obviously talking about Firefly in that case, yes, he is definitely protected his gonads when he's dealing with explosives.
Big fan of cod pieces. That's good.
As you do.
Profit Director Adam has come up a few times, although it should really be Profit Director Riches, let's face it. Full Force, no, the Full Monty. Brilliant. That's from Phil again. He's loving the naked talk for the figures.
That's the Full Force only.
If you want to see what Zartan looks like nude, I can take off my top right now.
I think we would gain so many more viewers if you did that. The artwork is flat out incredible, says Jason. I have to agree with that, mate. Let's say he also says Firefly is my favorite of the group because it's the largest departure from the 80s versions. Great updates. Interesting there. So it's funny how the fandom is kind of split in wanting either like really close versions of the 80s stuff, and also let's just go in a completely different direction. I think there is like an almost, I think I'm kind of in the middle somewhere on that. I think I like, obviously, the callbacks, but I really like these updates. What do you guys think of, talk on that one, Pat? What do you think of that particular set kind of thing with the what do you prefer?
I think that looking at Zartan, he's probably the best example where the pistol and the backpack look so much like they did originally that it's a great callback. They've definitely pulled forward some of the things that were great about that design. I also always, for some reason, liked the clips that kind of came back on his vest on the original figure, and those are on this one. But they've done a lot with textures. I think I have a tendency to think of a lot of this in the same way that superheroes have kind of been updated. I think that whenever Wave 1 was shown and everybody said, oh, those look like it's the superhero version of G.I. Joe, I thought that was funny because if you would have said that 15 years ago, that would have meant that everyone was in tights.
Yeah.
Now, people have a tendency to think of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, it's impacted a massive, in a massive way.
Lots of details and buckles and textures to things so that the design is multi-layered. And that, I guess, in the modern days is a superhero approach to things. Maybe not, I don't know. It definitely seems to be the way things are updated. And that's kind of how they've taken Zartan. It's not just a hood. It actually is multi-texture. I think that it looks good. It makes sense. I think that you go either one way or the other. If you're going to go classic, get it right, make it look like it did. And if you're going to go modern, do what they're doing now, and it's a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll take one more, and that's from David T. Allen, who says, no Flint, Lady J, Barbecue, Major Blood, or Alley Viper reveals. Now, obviously, these are names that have cropped up. Alley Viper for being on the artwork, but the other ones, Flint J, Barbecue, and Major Blood for being in that target system quite a while ago now. So obviously, what I think we're going to be getting those in the future, definitely in future waves. But obviously for now, I was surprised they didn't reveal like stuff they're working on like the other brands have done so far. Like yesterday in Marvel, we had the 2021 lineup that they showed a bunch of stuff that were happening next year. So obviously, what do you think about them not revealing? Do you think they're still trying to find their feet in the rollout of this line, especially during like the pandemic and stuff like that?
I think a lot of it is honestly based around the movie stuff. I mean, I think they want to capitalize on kind of the movie bringing the brand front and center and make sure they have a lot of product available for that. I have to wonder if the movie being pushed back a year might be sort of shuffling around their strategy a little bit of how they're releasing stuff. Or maybe they just got those names in the target system really early and they're not due until, next year.
Yeah.
Because I think the stuff that we saw today is probably stuff that we can expect throughout the rest of 2020, or maybe even into the beginning of 2021. And then, by the time we start getting to the beginning of 2021, you start talking about Toy Fair and a bunch of reveals probably happening there. So I think it's really a combination of things. I think I don't know if this was sort of meant as a sort of Comic-Con replacement. It's a little late in the year to be a Comic-Con replacement, but the sort of big reveal at this time of year didn't always happen in the past. So I'm not surprised they're only showing a few things, and I think there's still a lot of stuff hopefully to be shown at Toy Fair. Or maybe they'll be planning to have more of these Pulsecons, online in the next few months. I would almost rather they have several smaller batches of reveals than save everything for a couple of times a year. But yeah, I would suspect that, throughout the rest of this year, we'll start seeing a little bit more. And then I'm hoping Toy Fair 2021 is just going to kind of blow the doors off a little bit and really show kind of what's coming. But yeah, I would have loved to see more than 4 figures. I would have loved to have seen a couple of Joes, and even if it was stuff that they are working on in the future. But I really think, with the unpredictability of the world and the movie release, I think they just got to hold their cards even closer to the vest than normal.
Absolutely.
I wonder if the 2 figures we saw today are essentially Wave 3, and there'll be just those 2 in the case. So you might get 3 Cobra Troopers and 3 Zartans, because they did 3 Cobra Commanders, and Zartan is almost as iconic as him. So there's 3 Cobra Commanders in that Wave 2 case. So maybe you're going to have 3 Zartans because he's almost as iconic, and then 3 Cobra Troopers for the Troop Builder people.
Yeah,
that's your Wave 3. That's your Wave 3 assortment. That'll be a fine assortment as well. That'll give everybody what they want.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, that kind of brings us to the end of the stream. Do we any closing comments you guys want to make? Anyone like desperate to talk? You want to say anything, Adam, at the end of this one?
Burn the money, man. Burn it. Come on.
No, I won't be doing that today.
Isn't that a crime?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day to spend, not burn. You know, I got 5 o'clock.
That's all the money he's saving at Target by not having to buy the Target exclusives, right? That's all. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you all on, guys. Thank you so much. For everyone like watching as well, like really appreciate all the comments and all of the questions and everything. I'm sorry we couldn't get to every single one, but by the time I looked down, there's about 5,000 comments. So yeah, we'll have to rectify that in future episodes. Anyway, get back to Pulsecon. Enjoy the rest of the day, everyone. And don't forget, 5 p.m. on Walmart, you can get the retro stuff. Target, you'll be able to get Firefly and the Viper. And on Hasbro Pulse, you'll be able to. Well, sorry, you won't. Of course, you won't. Let's continue that hatred.
You can look at that little sold out button on the screen there. Yeah.
And Hasbro Pulse will have Zartan and the kind of redecoed Cobra Trooper.
Apparently, Pulse will be other retailers as well. Sorry,
yeah, eventually
other retailers as well. So
yeah, so we'll have look out obviously in the UK and Europe. Look out on In Demand and Kapow. I'm sure they'll have those too. I know In Demand will.
Kapow have said they won't be putting up pre-orders for anything until Monday, but I believe In Demand said pre-orders for Pulsecon stuff will be up at 10 o'clock tonight.
Brilliant. Okay, there you go, guys. So again, thank you so much. Really appreciate all the support and everything, guys. Thank you and thank you for my co-hosts. For Paddy, thank you, Paddy.
See you soon, guys.
Patrick.
Thanks again.
Justin.
Thank you, guys. Good talking to you.
And Profit Director Riches.
Man,
amazing.
I'm feeling a little hot myself right now.
We're all hot under the collar, and of course we always sign off. We always sign off the same way. So after 3, we always sign off the same way, guys. After 3, 1, 2, 3.
Full force.
I mean, that was perfect. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback or questions. We have also started a Patreon page, so if you want to see your name up in lights on these videos or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.